How is it going? And thank you for tuning in this video. Today I'm here on a rainy afternoon to finally give you guys my WWE Monday Night Raw October 18th, 2021 live experience. Yes, I know this Raw is a week old. Yes, I know pretty much everything that happened on this Raw is pretty much irrelevant now and pretty much does not matter for the most part, if it did matter to begin with. But you know what? I thought I'd go ahead and give you guys my experience and pretty much give you guys my thoughts on attending the event. So without wasting any time, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So to be honest, this video will most likely just be a rundown of the show itself because honestly, I didn't really do anything that day. AJ Styles did have a signing prior to the event at a Cricket Wireless, but I just didn't feel the need to go. It was first come, first serve at 10 o'clock, and I didn't know what time people would be lining up at. And I already met AJ Styles already, so I just didn't feel the need to go, but that was something I was able to do, but just decided against it. So I really didn't do anything that day besides go to Raw. And honestly, everything going to Raw was very, very smoothly, you know, even with the vaccination cards and everything. It was very, very easy to get into the venue, so I didn't have any problems going in. And of course, WWE now does their thing where you can kind of pre-order stuff through the event shop page, where you can, you know, order stuff and just go to the booth and pick up your stuff. So way easier instead of just waiting in the merch line for endless amount of time or whatever. So I was able to get the things I wanted just like that. And the first item, as soon as I saw it, I just had to get it because it's so corny and it's WWE related. And I know they've been doing this for like the TV event. So I just felt the need to get it. And of course, it is the Sacramento 316 t-shirt. Like I said, it's corny, but it's wrestling related and, you know, it's my hometown. So absolutely had to get it. And then on the back, it's with the flames with the skull. Purple, of course, for the Sacramento Kings. So just for the corniness level alone, I just felt like I had to get it. The next item, I kind of felt like I got gypped on because, well, I'll just go ahead and show you and explain to it. I got the live event falls shirt, which you just got numerous people on the cover on the right there. So there's the front and the back. It just says WWE Live Fall Tour. I was there. The main reason I got this shirt was I just assumed this would have the dates on the back of it. Obviously doesn't. It just says I was there fall tour. So if I would have known that, I honestly probably wouldn't have gotten this, but you know, this is what it is. Can't really complain too much about it. So those are the two things I got. Not much to get at WWE events because most things are just available on WWE shop. So I usually try to aim for the stuff that you can usually only get at the event. So that's what I ended up getting, were just those two shirts. Then after that, we just headed to our seats, which we had pretty nice seats for, $20 seats, which are pretty much what Raw is pretty much worth paying for if you do go to Raw these days. But $20 seats, excellent view. You know, nothing to complain about. Pretty much straight from the ring, straight from the stage. I don't have a ticket to show for because obviously due to COVID, they've kind of just been making everything on phones and everything and whatnot, but I did purchase the souvenir ticket option, so I will be getting that whenever that gets in the mail. Which, speaking of that, I got the same thing for my SummerSlam. When I went to SummerSlam, I did purchase a souvenir ticket, and this actually did come in a few weeks ago. So the ticket will pretty much be just like this, but you know, not SummerSlam, obviously. And the real cool thing about this one as well is it has the attendance as well as a nice wide shot of SummerSlam. So I'll be getting an event ticket just like this for Raw. We got to our seats, and then pretty much the show started almost within minutes after we sat down, which started off with Keith Bearcat Lee taking on some unknown person. Never said who it was. It was just some local jobber or whatever. Obviously, dark match. Keith Lee won in like a minute and a half, beat him with a jackhammer, so nothing really to talk about there. But Keith Lee was over. People were really excited to see Keith Lee, and like I said, it was just a quick little nothing of match. And then they went into the main event tapings, which started off with Drew Gulak taking on Akira Tozawa, which was a fun match. I actually enjoyed it. The crowd was actually pretty heavily into it as well, cheering for Tozawa for the most part. Some people around me were cheering for Gulak, which, you know, obviously in the match I was cheering for Gulak in the inside. So it was glad to see, you know, both guys getting reactions, and it reminded me of pretty much an old Raw Cruiserweight Division match back from like 2016. I thought it was a nice little, you know, 6-7 match between Tozawa and Drew Gulak, and they got a lot of good near falls. They're trading blows back and forth, and a lot of close stuff. So really enjoyable match. Drew Gulak at the win with the neck breaker. So yeah, definitely enjoyed that matchup. And then preceding that one, we had John Morrison and Ricochet teaming up against Humberto Carrillo as well as Angel Garza. This match was pretty fun. It was enjoyable. Ricochet was able to show off his offense. Morrison's really tricky because Morrison, like, when he hits it right, it looks great, but when he doesn't hit his stuff, it just looks so bad sometimes. So I feel like that was the case with Humberto and Garza. Humberto, he's so like weird to me because like there's times where he seems so polished, but then there's times where like he seems so green at the same time. Like I don't know what it is with Humberto Carrillo, but I feel like it's like a flip of the switch sometimes what kind of performance you get from him. But Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo end up getting the victory when they pinned John Morrison. So solid match. Main event, both matches were fun matches, pretty enjoyable show. And then that ended the tapings for main event, and then following that we proceeded into Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna try and quickly go over everything because I don't feel the need to go in depth into everything. So let's just go ahead and go right into things, which start off with a promo from Charlotte. Charlotte pretty much came out expecting everyone to give her a huge party because this is her farewell for Monday Night Raw since she got drafted to SmackDown. Bianca Bel-Air interrupts, which sets up their, title match that was already announced, so it didn't set it up, but it was, leading to their main event match later on. So Bianca and Charlotte traded words, like I said, to set up their main event later on. So it was solid for what it was, nothing to complain about. Fun little opening segment, fun way to Charlotte get some heat and whatnot. Following that, we had, of course, the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament. Jinder Mahal taking on Xavier Woods, and to be perfectly honest, this was a fun match. And yeah, you wouldn't think Jinder Mahal and fun in the same sentence. Yeah, you wouldn't think that, but honestly, it was. The crowd was very behind Xavier. They desperately wanted to see Xavier win. There's some close near falls as well, which that definitely added to the match, especially when Jinder hit the Colossus and Xavier, but Xavier had his foot in the ropes. So some very good stuff in this match, I felt, for the most part. Kofi taking out Shanky and Veer. So yeah, fun match. Xavier Woods, of course, getting the big win with the elbow drop, and spoiler alert, going on to Crown Jewel to win after he defeated Finn Bálor, which, by the way, speaking of Crown Jewel, I thought that was a great pay-per-view. One of the best pay-per-views WWE's had in a long time, and I thought it was really enjoyable. So Crown Jewel definitely was a great pay-per-view. But yeah, back on the Raw, Xavier Woods got the big win, like I said. Cool moment, and yeah, everyone was very, very behind Xavier Woods. Austin Theory backstage, Reggie getting chased by the 24/7 geeks. R-Truth interrupts him. Austin Theory challenges R-Truth. R-Truth accepts, so that leads to R-Truth taking on Austin Theory. But of course, when R-Truth comes out, he plays, "Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to accept it for R-Truth's friend," which, of course, none other being Jeff Hardy. So we get another rematch from, I don't know how long ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I don't know. Jeff Hardy taking on Austin Theory. I'll be honest, I don't really pay attention to Raw all that much, so I haven't really seen this match. So to see it live, to me, was fresh. So even though it's a rematch, it's a fresh match to me, for me to see. And I thought it was enjoyable. It was pretty lengthy as well. I think it got almost 10 minutes, I want to say, and I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Jeff Hardy, obviously, this dude can lose every match in his career going forward, and he'd still be mildly over. It's insane how over Jeff Hardy is. And I know Jeff Hardy's always been over for, I don't know how many years now. I'm not saying anything new, but it's like Jeff Hardy has his own level of overness. You know how you have like Austin over, Rock over? You got Jeff Hardy over too. So no matter what, that man's untouchable. In terms of his performance, I don't know if people want to see Jeff Hardy in the main event again, but let's be honest, the dude can, every time I watch him, it looks like it's just a struggle just to go out there. So I don't know why people are still lunging for a main event run. Well, I would love to see it, but I just don't think he's capable of it, to be perfectly honest. So like I said, solid match between him and Austin Theory. Hardy going for the Swanton, and Theory knocked him down, ended up in his finish. So beats Jeff Hardy, not much to it. Then of course afterwards took a selfie. Jeff sprung up, hit a twist of fate, I believe, on him, and then took a selfie with him. So Jeff Hardy getting his final goodbyes on Raw, and putting over Theory while leaving, but also getting the upper hand while leaving as well. So I have no problem with it. I know people have to complain that Jeff keeps losing, but Jeff's at that position where he should be putting people over, not beating them anyways. So I had no complaints about the way they sent Jeff Hardy off on Raw. Hopefully he can do a little better on Friday Night SmackDown. Preceding that, we had Big E and Drew McIntyre taking on Dolph Ziggler on Robert Roode. Once again, another rematch that we've seen before, but I never really paid attention to Raw, like I said, so to me, it was kind of a fresh matchup. And it was good. It was solid. Nothing really to complain about. Ziggler and Roode, they were pretty solid as a tag team, even though I don't think anyone in the world cares for them. They were pretty solid, so nothing really bad to say about this match. Big E and Drew, of course, get the victory once Big E hit the big ending, I think, on Robert Roode. They get the win, so 1, 2, 3, Big E and Drew get the win. And of course, afterwards, they had the big stare down where they're kind of shouting at each other, trying to build up their match at Crown Jewel, which, again, speaking of Crown Jewel, that was a great match as well. I think Edge and Rollins stole the show, but Big E and McIntyre also had a fantastic match, I thought. So, yeah, solid tag match for the most part. Mansoor taking on Cedric Alexander. Poor Mansoor, man. Like, he's not bad or anything, but no one gives a flying fuck about that guy. You can hear crickets when that guy comes out, so yeah, I don't think anyone in the world gives a flying shit about Mansoor. The match of Cedric was fine. I mean, they didn't get a lot of time. It was only like 3 or 4 minutes. So the stuff they managed to do was pretty good. But obviously, this was just set up to give Mansoor a win going into his match against Mustafa Ali, which obviously afterwards, Mustafa came out to, talk crap to Mansoor on the mic, and they kind of exchange words. And of course, Mansoor spoke in his language, and you know, like I said, just not a person in the world gives a flying shit about Mansoor, I believe. Lashley and Goldberg had their no holds barred interview, which hilariously enough, when they're promoting it, everyone was reacting as if Goldberg was going to be there, which, me being the smart man that I am, not claiming I'm not smart, but I've been to enough WWE shows, or I've seen Raw enough to know how they operate. Unless they're promoting big guys like Lashley, or not Lashley, Goldberg, to be there live in advance, they're not going to be there when they're just promoting it the day of the show. Like, they're not going to promote Goldberg's on Raw, you know, unless he's going to be there live, unless it's a week in advance, so they can get those ticket sales when they need it. So, it's just pretty funny to see everyone's let down when they realize it's a screen interview, not an in-ring one. So, I got a nice kick out of that. But yeah, that was what it was. After that, we had RK Bro take on the Street Profits, which was very enjoyable. I thought this was a very fun match. I was very excited for this too when they got announced, because Street Profits and RK Bro, that's a fresh match we haven't seen yet. So I was very excited to see it, and I thought both teams worked very well. And obviously, WWE fashion, the match had to come down to a disqualification when AJ Styles' music's played. Omos came out, and then AJ hit the phenomenal forearm once Randy was distracted. And then, of course, Omos came in and cleared the house, took out everybody, took out Street Profits, took out Riddle and AJ, and whatnot. So, yeah, sucked to see DQ finish, but what can you expect at a WWE event? You gotta expect these stupid DQ finishes and in the matches you care to see for the most part. So, very fun match. I had a lot of fun enjoying it. The crowd was very into it as well. They had some great near falls. Randy was loving it too, man. Randy was eating it up, man. He was loving it. The crowd was chanting for Randy, RK Bro. He was just feeding it, man. And I don't know how I came across on TV, because I haven't watched the show back or anything, but the crowd live, by the way, was very, very hot. I felt the crowd was very energetic for the most part, and I feel like guys like Randy and whatnot were eating it up a lot. So I thought he was really enjoying it for the most part, and I thought his performance showed. But then, like I said, everything, the DQ finish and whatnot happened. But yeah, very fun tag match. My favorite match of the show to that point. Following that, of course, we had the semifinals of the Queen's Crown tournament. Shayna Baszler taking on Doudrop. I don't even want to talk about it, because I just thought it was so ridiculous that Doudrop beat Shayna Baszler. I just thought it was stupid. Obviously, Zelina Vega came out before the match to sit on the throne. And then the match happened. Shayna Baszler had her in the clutch for like a minute straight. Doudrop was doing whatever she could to try and get out of it, rolling around. And then eventually Doudrop rolled her up into a pin, and 1, 2, 3 defeated Shayna Baszler to advance to the finals against Zelina Vega. Thankfully, Zelina Vega won. Not that the Queen's Crown matters, but yeah, just the lack of respect they show that entire tournament, to me, is just absolutely hilarious. But it's WWE. What can you expect, guys? What can you expect? Following that, we had Finn Bálor taking on MACE. Why? Who knows? Obviously, MACE needs to be in a tag team still, because I feel like his performance against Bálor was pretty bad. I feel like there was a lot of miscommunications. He looked very green. I should have just said that flat out. He looked very green against Bálor, if you asked me. And Bálor ended up getting the win over MACE, just to build him up for King of the Ring, I guess. And then afterwards, obviously, Bálor and Xavier Woods had their big stare down, going to King of the Ring at Crown Jewel. So, yeah. Not much to talk about Finn Bálor and MACE. And then, of course, we go to the main event, which was for the Raw Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair taking on Bianca Belair. Honestly, this match alone was worth the price of admission. This was an incredible Raw main event. I thought both women looked tremendous. Bianca Belair, this has been a breakout year for her. I'll be completely honest, and I've said it in my past videos. When she was in NXT, I wasn't a huge fan of her. You know, I didn't really see it. But since she's been on the main roster, I feel like she's really shined and come through, and especially this year alone. Since winning the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, I feel like Bianca Belair has really shown what kind of skills she has, and she's really come into herself as a star. And I feel like her performance here as well against Charlotte really solidified herself. She really showed that she could hang with Charlotte. And like I said, I felt like these two women went out there and put a tremendous main event on, pulling out all the stops, a lot of great near falls. You know, Charlotte, of course, doing her moonsault into the outside, the Bianca to take her out. Just a whole lot was put into this match, and of course, WWE fashion cannot capitalize on it. They do a ridiculous bullshit DQ finish, which immediately when Charlotte went to the outside, because I checked my watch and I saw that, you know, the show only had a few minutes left, and as soon as I saw Charlotte roll the outside and fumbling on the ring, I'm like, great, DQ finish. Because honestly, I really thought Bianca was winning the title. I really thought perfect way to get the title off Charlotte, send her to SmackDown, and then you got Becky lose the title, Crown Jewel, and then, you know, whatever. Obviously, that didn't happen. DQ finish. And it's so bad, too, because they did a DQ finish, And then they immediately was like, I know the show went off the air like a minute after the DQ finish, but they did it. They had Bianca celebrate in the ring for a few minutes. They're like, all right, thank you for coming by. Which, by the way, they never even announced like Bianca won by DQ or anything. They just rang the bell and that was it. So no one even got announced. But yeah, the ending was very, very rushed, and I felt like it was a shame because it ruined a great main event. And this main event could have went down in history, honestly. If Bianca would have won, or at least had a clean finish, this main event could have went down as a memorable one. But WWE fashion had to ruin it. And then to make matters worse, they had that horrible belt swap on SmackDown with Becky and Charlotte, that awkward ass exchange where clearly none of them wanted to do it. So WWE easily could have just had Bianca win the title here. Sasha may win the title at Crown Jewel. She could have won it there, and then could have got the titles off Becky and Charlotte without having to swap it. But nope, went the worst possible direction possible, and they ended up doing so. Yeah, incredible main event between Charlotte and Bianca. One of the best women's matches of the year, if you ask me. Man, one of the best WWE matches of the year as well, if you ask me. But of course, it's thrown away by shitty WWE booking. So it is what it is. And like I said afterwards, not much to it. I pretty much just immediately left and went home. So that was my experience and pretty much rundown of Monday Night Raw last week. Overall, I had a very fun time. I didn't think Raw last week was bad at all. I thought every match for the most part was fun. I didn't think anything on the show was really bad. So besides the booking, some booking decisions obviously were bad, but from a wrestling standpoint, from a show standpoint, I didn't think Raw was bad by any means. I thought it was a good, solid show, and definitely was a good way to lead into Crown Jewel, if you ask me, besides a BS DQ finish and main event. But what can you do? It's WWE booking for you. And yeah, I hope you guys did the video. If you guys did, please feel free to like below. The next event I'm attending will, of course, be for New Japan in November next month. So actually in a few weeks, I think 3 weeks, November 13th, Battle in the Valley. I'll be there. So I'll probably most likely be doing a live experience and review video on that. So they'll most likely be my next video. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video.